Here with my man, Coach Al. What's good, Al?
What's up, man? Everything cool?
What you got going on in the gym today?
Just training a couple dudes.
Working? Okay. Let's see you. You know I'm about to ask you. The kick her around the world.
Tony Ferguson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Al, is Tony done?
As far as the UFC, yeah, I think he's done. I think he's done as far as the UFC. I mean, he can still fight. I don't know. Like, if you watch the last fight against Michael Chandler,
yeah.
He did pretty good up until he looked like old Tony up until he got kicked in the fucking mouth. I think he had too many wars in the UFC to function at that high level anymore. He might go to like Bellator or ONE FC, and he'll do great. He'll do great there. Or at the very least pull a what's his name? Wow, Braveheart. He's from Philly, so he so-called fight out of Philly.
Who, Eddie Alvarez?
Eddie Alvarez, and do all right. Eddie do all right. Where he at? Where he's at?
Is that Division II littered with talent for Tony to be competitive anymore?
And I don't think it's necessarily the talent. Tony's always been like a grindy, tough guy. Super talented, super awkward. Really doing what it takes to get the job done. But at some point, you get the fight beat out of you. At some point, it gets beat out of you. You can't do what you used to do. Like, that's just what happens to some dudes. He'll always be one of the best, have the best runs in the UFC. I've seen that win strike he was going on to the Gaethje fight, one of the best things I ever seen in the sport. But after that, it's just been all downhill. I think for his own sake, he should leave the UFC, either retire, open a couple of schools or whatever, because he can. He still has the rep. He still can fight. Or maybe even go down to like a lower level, like a Bellator or a ONE FC. Like, he can still do those things. But as far as the UFC go, he's done.
Do you think not getting the Khabib fight took something out of him mentally?
Yeah, that's living rent-free in his head. It's he brings it up without anyone even asking about it. Like, you saw in all the interviews up towards his fight, he kept talking to DC about fucking Khabib. It's like, you fighting Michael Chandler right now. He's on this. That gotta be devastating to be on the top of the sport, where people are talking about that you might be one of the GOATs in the sport, and to somehow, through no faults of your own, have it taken away from you over and over again. He had Khabib miss weight. He had the injury with his when he tripped over the cord, and then the COVID happened. And Khabib couldn't get over here, and then on a fight that was supposed to just be like a tune-up fight for him fighting Khabib, which is the Gaethje fight. He gets fucking dismantled. He gets dismantled. All of a sudden, everyone's like, "Oh, Tony's a fraud. Tony this, Tony that." So they try to give him more fights to get him back into that running, and he takes loss after loss after loss. I can't imagine mentally what that does to you. Let alone, he took some serious damages in all those fights that you up to the Gaethje fight. He would take some serious damages in all those fights. So mentally, he's not there. Mentally, he's not there at all. He should probably take a while to not compete anymore, and just see for himself if this is something he want to continue doing, especially knowing that he's never going to be considered a great of all time. Like, he's just not, like, at all. He's going to be considered one of the best, and he's going to be a lot of people's favorites, but he's never going to be the GOAT. He never will.
Did the Gaethje fight, did that just start like a snowball effect to where as though it, beating after beating, it seemed like Tony had always been in wars, but it seemed like that was just a little different, man.
I'll argue it's something different. I think the Gaethje fight was the straw that broke the camel's back. Because if you want to talk about snowballing, it's been snowballing 10 fights before that, because he always take a lot of damage. He was always that guy willing to get hit. He was always that guy willing to do what it takes to grind through the barbed wire. That was why people liked him. And that's when the snowball started. And that Gaethje fight was the one that made the biggest impact, in my opinion, upon him. So I don't think it started. I think it started just how the nature of how he fights. Like, he doesn't have a camera. he doesn't have a structured training camp. He goes in. He doesn't really have coaches for real. Like he doesn't have a dedicated striking coach, dedicated he doesn't have someone who like organizes things for him. And that's how he always fought. There's no real structure in his camp, but that's worked for him. But at some point where you can only be the outlier for so long until people either figure you out or you unable to get away what you got away with at your level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think the Gaethje fight was just something that was bound to happen. It was just destined. People just didn't want to see it or couldn't see it. Like in that Gaethje fight, that's when you need some like real help. And I know a lot of people jumped on Eddie Bravo about this, but he was his main coach for that fight. But he's a jiu-jitsu guy. He's not an MMA guy. He didn't have a dedicated MMA coach. Gaethje had Trevor Whitman, one of the best coaches in the game. And it showed right there when when Gaethje would do something wrong, Trevor Whitman would be like, hey, you're fucking up. This is still your fight to lose. When Tony needed help, and it's not to like discredit Eddie Bravo. He's a great martial artist. He's one of the best in jiu-jitsu right now. He told him to do a fucking Imanari roll when he was getting the shit beat out of him. He didn't have a dedicated coach, and that's how he wanted to function. But you're gonna be the GOAT. You want to be the best in your sport. You gotta have that structure and that knowledge behind it. Like you can only be an outlier for so long. Being an outlier is going to be only but so far. There's a reason why all the best guys in any sport should always have the best coaches. Look at Tom Brady. It was always Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Until Tom Brady proved that wrong, went to the fucking Bucks and won a chip right after. But there's always been the knowledge, the person coaching you behind that always got you to where you went. But either way, I wish Tony Ferguson the best. I don't like seeing him get pummeled on like this. I'm still a fan. Even though I'm still a fan of him. I just don't like seeing him get fucking destroyed like he's been getting destroyed. It's real sad to watch. I'm pretty sure Dana White's going to drop him from the roster. Yeah, we're going to get that announcement either this month, next month, but he's not fighting.
I can see that.
In the UFC.
And shout out to the photographer that caught the greatest MMA photo of all time.
Oh, that was me.
That was crazy.
That was me. Whoever got that deserves
He's a fucking
bonus.
ninja.
He deserves a bonus. That was a mean ass picture. I posted it too. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Thanks, Al. I appreciate you.
No problem, man.
YSL Sports Media is the truth. You don't have to go nowhere and get all of your boxing news. We got it right here. No gossip, just boxing. YSL is always on topic. And then like and subscribe so you don't miss a thing when I drop it. YSL Sports Media. YSL